All right, good afternoon and welcome to my trading recap video today. My name is David Whiteley with ULTradez. If you're new to the channel, welcome. First of all, glad to have you here. Every day on my journey to attempt to pass 20 Apex evaluation accounts, I am sharing my trades for the day, the things that I saw, and updating everybody on my progress. I do this for two reasons. One is to keep myself accountable so that I if I know that I have to share my trades with you all, I tend to make better decisions. And then secondly, if a little bit of what I share helps somebody else out, we're happy to do that. So I am by no means an expert, but I share with you what I learn as I learn it. All right, so here we go. Let's look at the P&L today. All right. As you may be aware, I have 15 accounts right now that I'm trading. I am trading, let's see, these, I don't know, how many are there? 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. These 11 accounts are very, very near their trailing threshold. So I'm only trading one contract in those. Those ones are up $124 with the exception of this one here, which I jumped into a trade in ES using just this one account. And it didn't work out. I got stopped out. And so I'm pretty sure it was yes, I think so. So that's why it's lower than the others. These four accounts here, I'm trading, depending on the trade. If I get my perfect setup, which I got today, I'll trade all 10 contracts that I'm allowed to trade in those accounts. If it's one I'm not as sure of, I'll only trade one or two. And so we made over $1,000 after fees. It brought it down to $968 in those four accounts, and then have a $25,000 account here at 220, basically, patterned with these accounts down here. Okay, so I did want to show one thing that I do every day. I don't know if I don't know how you guys might do it, but I always like to see what my trailing threshold is at the beginning of the day, going into the day. It just helps me calibrate myself, especially when you're, unfortunately, like if you're in the situation like I am, where you have these accounts that are very near their trailing threshold. You don't want to jump into a trade with too many contracts or, lower conviction, not realizing how much room you have. So what I do every day, first thing in the morning, is I'll come in here and I'll hit this button to export this as a CSV file so that I can put it in Excel, which populates this thing here. All right, it populates these columns. Obviously, whatever columns you have selected that will appear in the spreadsheet. But what I do then is I take and I just do the simple math equation, because it has your auto liquidate threshold value here and then your account balance here. And I just net those out so I can see what the difference is. So you can see coming into the day, I had $1,400 on this account, $2,400 on these accounts, 144 and 134, and then 114 on this guy. Okay. So that's what I do, just to, make sure going into the day, I know where I'm at. So for me, if I know I'm in oil, which is $10 per tick, and my stop loss is 10 ticks, essentially I've got one trade, one full loss is what I'm allowed on these before, I'm basically done with them. So very cautious there. These guys obviously have almost their entire trailing threshold remaining. That's just an important number to be aware of as you're going through this process. So that's what I do every morning. And that was the result. So it was a green day. It was actually, today was the best day I've had in a long time, not only because of the numbers that you see here, but because I actually took my trade, which sounds kind of funny. But I've watched this trade happen so many times where I've hesitated and not been able to take advantage of it, that being able to take advantage of it today was very satisfying. So let's go over the trades really quickly. In oil, I won't show you the ES trade. I mean, it was not that interesting, and it didn't work out. There wasn't anything particularly unique or special about it. So, and it was only on the one account. So I will leave that one alone for today in interest of time. So here we are coming into the market. So my strategy is based off of Bob Anderson's strategy that he teaches on his YouTube channel. I think it's the Trading Journey of Robert Anderson. And essentially, I'm looking for reactions off of this red line here, which is the 21 SMA based on the 5-minute chart, and this gold line here, which is the 9 EMA based off of the 5-minute chart. And then sort of thirdly, I could be looking for reactions off of this gold line, which is the 1-minute 9 EMA. So I do have a video that shows how I set all this up, which you can find if you would like that information. Let me get rid of this guy here. All right, so here were my trades. First thing in the morning, I missed this trade here. Apologize, I got my train coming in the background. You can probably hear that. This would have been a really good test of the 1-minute gold line. Reason being, we were above it. Okay, so here's the 1-minute gold line, right? Just make sure you're all with me. Okay, so coming into the market, price just had this really huge push up pre-market, which it's kind of annoying to me because I wish I was in here. If you look back, there actually was, or this would have been a decent trade because price comes above my 5-minute gold line, taps it, maybe. I don't know if that would have actually touched at the time. You're coming up into the overnight open, which can provide a lot of resistance, so you have to keep that in mind. However, this is the first time we've been to the overnight open since very late last night. So chances are price will come back to that level. So that's actually that's a fairly high conviction trade here. So price pokes above it, it comes back down, retests this EMA, this gold line here, and then it comes off it slowly, but boy, it just rockets up for some reason. So that's where we're at coming into the day. This box right here is the opening range, the first 15 minutes of the cash open. So it shoots up, comes down, hesitates, drops down. We come back up to test the 1-minute gold line, which also happens to be this line here is just a resistance line that I have drawn. I draw these off the 1-hour chart. It's just something that I do. So regardless whether that was there or not, it's a perfect test of this gold line, and it's perfect because price comes down, it creates this recent pivot low, pushes up very cleanly, right? There's no choppiness coming into it. A nice small candle gives you a great entry opportunity, and then price pushes down. I was looking at this as a break of this opening range. So after price comes back up, rejects off of the 5-minute gold line, which this also would have been a really good entry opportunity. Again, and that's a good entry because price here is below the gold line, okay, creating this recent pivot low. It goes up above the gold line, which basically resets, we'll say it resets the gold line in terms of, providing good support and resistance. We push down outside, we break the outside of the opening range. It's a little choppy here, but if you're watching this price action carefully, we create a new pivot low. So price does push down past where it was before, comes up here, you have this nice long wick off of this candle, and then it drops out. I wanted to get in at the break of the opening range, but I wasn't going to get in right away. My intention was to get in right at the beginning of this candle here, if you can see it, this big red candle, because I saw this candle forming, and I said to myself, well, if price closes completely below this opening range, I'm going to go ahead and jump in, and I'm going to ride it and see if it can get down to the red line. Because the red line is in the way, we don't expect it to go. I mean, it's not going to fall through it likely, right? It's going to provide resistance. However, I didn't have my order there fast enough, and so I hit the market button, sell market, or I don't remember if I did the ask the bid or market. Either way, the price moved so quickly that I didn't get in till it had fallen down here. And as soon as I got in and I saw how low I was, I mean, I'm almost down to my price target anyway. I just got out of it with 2 ticks of profit. So I mean, I wasn't looking for much there, and it did work out. but that's just how that was. Meanwhile, I'm waiting. What I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for a red line trade. Okay, that's the trade that I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for price to come back to test this red line to get a reaction off of the red line. And it almost doesn't look like we're going to get it, right? But what it does is price pushes up here. It creates this pivot high. So this is higher than everything to the left of it, coming way back to, just this opening couple of minutes. And then price pushes really cleanly down here. Now this is why I'm kind of proud of this entry, because I've seen this happen about, I don't know, half a dozen times this week, where you'll get this little candle that forms, and it almost looks like it's forming below this red line, which would invalidate the trade. If the entire price opens and closes below the red line here, that would invalidate the trade. But this wick was still touching, and I've seen this exact same setup several times this week, and I didn't take it because, I'm afraid it's going to fall through and whatever else, but I wanted to stick with my rules, and my rules are that once a candle breaks through the red line, okay, so we're coming off of a pivot high, we came down to the red line, the candle that breaks the red line will be where I base my entry off of, meaning I will place my entry order one tick above that candle, and then we wait. The next candle forms. I'm going to make sure my order is one tick above that candle. This candle formed, so I moved my order down, and as soon as this closed, I'm watching my bar timer here. As soon as that bar timer hits like 1 or 0, I'm ready, and I click and I drop my order one tick above here. And I have to be honest with you, this was probably the scariest 15 seconds of my life. I shouldn't have been nervous because I was following my strategy, following my rules, and it worked out perfectly fine. I'm only looking for 10 ticks on this because I'm going in with 10 contracts. So that's one of the reasons I was nervous, because it's a very heavy position. I mean, if this stops out, I'm not going to lose these accounts, but because I'm only doing 10 contracts with the accounts I have the room to do that with. But it is risky. It is risky. So price pushed up here, hit the 10 almost immediately. And that was $1,000 trade, okay, in those accounts. I even had to look back because I wasn't sure how fast it was. So I pulled up my history here. And down here, this is where I got into it at 9:20:20. That's where I got entered, and then 9:20:35 is where I exited, right there. So 15 seconds, $1,000 in each account. Now, ironically enough, if I had waited, there's a lot of chop in here, but it never comes down to your stop loss. So if you had the grit and determination to wait through all that, it does shoot up, but I certainly would not have. So that was my trade for today. I think I tried one other trade right here. And this is one I knew I had to turn it off because here we have price. It comes up here. So this is a recent pivot high. We know because this green line is the high of day. So we make a new high of day. Price comes back down, but it breaks below my my gold line here. Because it's so late in the day, I'm waiting for it to hit the red line again. So I do not enter off of this candle here. That's reason number one. Reason number two is because this comes down, right? So price is high here. It pivots low here. It pushes up here. And this is not as high, right? This does not create a new high before it comes down to the gold line. So that would invalidate this trade anyway. So I would not get in here. But price comes back up. We have a new pivot high, and we have a nice clean pullback into the gold line right here. And this is only I think a 2 contract trade. I didn't do the full 10 contract position because it wasn't off of my red line. But because of the pretty distinct uptrend we were in, I decided to play this 1 minute gold line. So price comes down to it again. This candle pierces the line, so I place my order 1 tick above the candle, and on the next candle I get ticked in. I mean, this is a slow mover and it's just dawdling along, and I got nervous. So I moved my stop or my target or whatever, and I got out with like 1 tick of profit. And it just keeps trailing up. So this would have gone the 20 ticks, you know, that we kind of expect these things to go for. But as I was in this trade, and I mean, just because I was so anxious here, I knew that, I mean, that was a signal I should turn it off, because I was not in a place where I could objectively really look at the charts. Because if I had, I would have waited for this to close. It closed green. I would have waited for this to close. I mean, there's nothing in here that tells you to get out, and then you're forming this upward wedge. I mean, all of this price action tells you that it's going up. Price never closes below the EMA. Your stop loss is never in danger. You know, it's just slow moving afternoon price action. That it is what it is. So because I was not able to stick that out, I shut it down. So that was it. That's my trade report for today. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. We're looking for a good day tomorrow to finish out the week strong. Hopefully you had a good day today. Let me know how you did. And thanks for sticking it out. If you appreciate this content, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. That really helps us out a lot. Otherwise, trade safe, follow your plan, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.